Good morning, dear students of class 12. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to take for revision the lesson Deep Water, chapter 3 from your main reader Flamingo. Now, a brief about the author. William Orville Douglas was an American jurist and politician who served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of United States. Born on 16th October 1898, Minnesota, United States. He died on 19 January 1980, Maryland, United States. He was nominated by Franklin D. Roosevelt and he was a friend and advisor to the president. This particular lesson is an excerpt from his book of Men and Mountains. While reading this book, notice how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support his discussion of fears. And another noted book of his is The Courtiers. Now, theme of this lesson. Deep Water has been taken from William Douglas' book Men and Mountains, of Men and Mountains. It was his personal experience. It reveals how, as a young boy, William Douglas nearly drowned in a swimming pool. In this extract, he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcame it. Now see, here is the cover of this book of Men and Mountains. Now the lesson begins with author's aversion to water. How as 3 or 4 years old boy, when Douglas visited a beach in California with his father, they stood in the surf. He was knocked down by the waves and he was all wet, almost he fell down, he was overpowered by the waves. He was frightened and he cried, but his father laughed off the incident. Now, Douglas, when he was 10 or 11-year old, he decided to learn swimming in YMCA pool. Now, the Yakima River, where was the pool, had offered him exactly an opportunity for swimming, but at the same time, the Yakima River was treacherous. And his mother continually warned him, keeping him fresh of all the updates of the latest drowning incidents. But the YMCA pool was safe. It was 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end and 9 feet at the other. And even the drop was gradual. He bought a pair of water wings and went to the pool. He paddled with water wings. He learned by imitating other boys. And he was developing confidence. But one day, while he was sitting all alone on the edge of the pool, a well-built boy, say 18 years old, came there and threw him into the pool unawares. He was almost drowned. Even he did not lose his confidence because he had a plan. He did not give up. He had a plan, and the plan was that he would hit the bottom with force and with the same force come out like a cork, and then he would swim to the edge of the pool and then he would come out. But he tried thrice. He failed. And finally, he felt as if he was drowning. When he regained consciousness, he found himself lying on the pool and outside the pool, and he was surrounded by other boys. The boy who had thrown him was being scolded, but he said that he had done it in a lighter manner, in a light sense. He never meant to drown him. But the impact of this incident in the YMCA pool was very shocking. He felt weak and trembling. He shook and cried even when he went home, while lying in his bed. But it did not remain with him. The fear did not remain with him, say, for few days. It remained with him for years together. For days he had a haunting fear, and the slightest exertion would upset him and made him wobbly in the knee and sick in the stomach. He would never dare to go back to the pool again. The fears started becoming more and more alarming. It remained not with him in the river and pool. Whenever he would reach near the pool or river, his legs would become paralyzed. Icy horror would grab his heart. He was deprived of normal life, like enjoying water sports, fishing trips, and canoeing. So it had started affecting his normal life. Now, one day he decided that he is going to fight out his fear in a systematic manner. So he took training under an instructor for swimming, teaching him swimming in a proper manner with all precautions. He engaged an instructor to learn swimming. The instructor made him practice 5 days a week, an hour every day. This was the schedule. He put a belt around him for safety's sake, as he was dead scared of water. And this belt was attached to a rope, and this was attached to a pulley, and that ran on an overhead cable. And so he held on to the end of the rope and went back and forth several times each day. This was done to remove his fear of water and make him swim in the water without fear, with precautions. It took 3 months to learn. Instructor taught him piece by piece. First, to put his face under water and exhale, that is breathing exercises. To raise his nose and inhale, exhaling and inhaling, breathing in water he was taught. Then he was made to kick his legs back and forth in water. So piece by piece he learned swimming, and then all the pieces were joined together, and then he was made to swim in water. So the instructor had trained him how to swim. But self-practice remained, because still he had fear of water, fear to swim alone in water. And this he removed by self-practicing. Though the author had learned to swim, he still felt that old fear would grip him again. So that confidence he did not get to swim alone. And for that, he went to Lake Wentworth, swam 2 miles across the lake, swam the crawl, breaststroke, side stroke, backstroke. But the old sensation of drowning returned in miniature, in a small form. He went to Titan, to Conrad Meadows, to the Conrad Creek Trail, made glaciers, and camped by the warm lake. So many times he swam in different lakes. Finally, he camped in warm lake. When he swam across to the other shore and back, and found that he did not face fear while he was swimming back and forth. He finally came out of water and he was overjoyed because he had conquered his fear. His joy of conquering the fear was echoing in the entire valley. The lessons learned were a larger meaning from this experience we can draw. What he felt was, in death there is peace. This was when he was drowning in the water. He had surrendered in the YMCA pool when he was drowning. He had almost surrendered because earlier he was struggling and now he had surrendered. He could feel the peace in death. And then there is terror only in the fear of death. He learned another important lesson, that when you fear death, then you are full of, you are bothered with terror. The narrator had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of it can produce. And the lesson was that the will to live grew stronger in him. Now, this lesson has a message. It deals with the childhood fear of Douglas. A misadventure at YMCA pool developed in him an aversion for water. He suffered from hydrophobia. The story focuses on the fact that childhood fears must be treated, not be treated lightly. They must be taken seriously. If they are not tackled, then they make deep inroads into one's psychology. They affect a personality. Douglas analyzes his fear and he finally determines to overcome it. The last paragraph of this lesson has an important message. As Roosevelt had once said, all we have to fear is fear itself. And at last, William Douglas realized that he was free to walk the trails, that is, the struggles, the problems, the difficulties of life, climb the peaks, that is, the ladder of success, and brush aside fear, and not be bothered with fear. Fear can do nothing for him, nothing to obstruct him in his growth, in his achievements. So, the lesson has a universal message. It finds a place in our hearts because all of us have some fear or the other. We need to fight out our fear, just like William O. Douglas did, in a very systematic manner. He overcame his fear of water, and it had a larger meaning in his life. We stop here, and as we have revised this lesson, you are advised to read the text and come out with your doubts. Your assignment is posted in GCR, and detailed study materials also posted. Make sure you post the assignment after completing it. Thank you. Have a nice day and take care.